Hello there. Today we got some tips on surviving that first winter. It can be harsh, and of course you're going to want to do the basic things like, get your farm up and running as fast as possible. Get your iron up and running so you can make those iron knives, so you can start killing the wolves, so you can start making getting those pelts, so you can have the better simple pelt capes, and get your thick linen shirts. It's better to have the best stuff, but don't get bogged down on getting the best stuff for your guys and for yourself right at the start for the first winter, because if you can't go over there and kill all the wolves and stuff like that, you don't have time to do that. Just make sure you have something, because I know 300 is better than the 200 cold resist, but if you don't have access to that, make sure you're just building something, because 200 is better than 0. And have your worker for your crafting station go there ahead and make have them on a work task for 2 of each of all the items that you can easily make, so it will automatically gear up all your guys so they can have as much gear as possible when winter hits, and then that's less work for you to do, and they'll be doing that work for you. So make sure you do that. Fires in the centralized location is also one of the key factors. A guardhouse, a fire pit nearby, a barbecue station. Stick a guy on extra guys on barbecue work, on cooking duties to keep the fires maintained, because having a guy just on leisure time, they're not going to maintain the fires. So having cooking houses and any other job that where they maintain the fire themselves and have that in a centralized location is going to be a good idea. Over here there's no fire nearby, right? This isn't really a good setup for myself after I did it, right? So I should take this building. This is what you do for yourself. You take this out there and then let's go ahead and stick the healer's hut there instead. So I could go ahead and stick the healer's hut right here and then put this building over there instead. So the healer's hut will be having an automatic fire going in there, and that's what you can do with the other guys that are really weak to cold, and you don't want them running around in wintertime going out there and picking up what the gatherer is going to gather in wintertime. Not very much for resources and stuff like that. So yeah, your gatherers, your stone workers and stuff like that. Stick anybody you can to on healer's huts, because they're going to maintain the fire. I got a daytime and a nighttime guy, so somebody's always here. And if something does happen to your guys, they have a place to go to get healed, and of course they have they have a fire being maintained. That's the key factor, is having people on jobs that maintain the fires, even if it's going to be temporary for the wintertime. Just for the wintertime, have them on that there. Also, you can have temporary work schedules for yourself too that you can make, because they have the presets right here. Just stick them on extra leisure time, something like this one right here for wintertime, right? A couple days, work a couple hours, rest for a couple hours. You got to give them at least 2 hours to stop what they're doing and go to the fire pit or whatever, and take some time off and get warmed up for themselves. So that extra things like that will really help them, keep them alive. And then you can keep adjusting it as you see fit. More leisure time if you have to, don't even full leisure time. Make sure that's ready to go. The other thing you can do, since you have to build lots of these wooden altars, keep them happy and stuff like that, so they got somewhere to go. This is where they go for the leisure time. So yeah, stick a fire pit in the middle of it, right? You put one down there, put a fire pit, and build some more around it. So when all my guys come on there for their leisure time, they just come in there and they sit down here like this guy's doing right now. They sit there and they got a fire to keep them warm there. You got to maintain this one yourself, unless you have a guy on there for barbecue duty. But you can't have everybody doing barbecue duty the whole time. You got to do some work yourself, I guess. And of course, the layout of your cottages, that can matter too. You don't want to put the fire pit near the doorway. That will cause some issues, even though it's not blocking the doorway. The fire pit, the guys that actually want to get warmed up will stay in the doorway and then get bugged out, and they won't get warm even though they're standing by the fire, and they'll freeze to death. So just be aware of that little bug right there, and have the fire pit in the middle. You can put your your beds as anywhere you want, but I wanted to make sure my guys had a little bit of room to get to them, so I only stick 8 as my number for my cottages right there. And even if you don't have a cottage, of course, it's another fire pit nearby to your beds. So yeah, just fire pits in centralized locations, and make sure they're maintained. And the hotter the better, because they always maintain the fires at a low level. So yeah, this is the low level. You want to maintain that as hot as possible. So they get warm faster. The simple stuff like that. The other thing to do is keep checking your tab. Keep checking this tab. Make sure nobody is getting hurt. This is the only place that's going to warn you. Is your guys are suffering. You can see it right here. You can't see the hit points right here. So that's the other thing you might want to do for the tip is just go to any old workstation and go to manage workers. We can see their hit points. So you can go over here and keep checking this. Go through all your guys, and if you see anybody hurting, hurting, then you can go there and say, hey, this guy's hurting. I go over here. I'll load a preset of no work day and all leisure time, and then he'll just run back to the base basically, or wherever he is. He'll just he'll stop what he's doing, hopefully, and run back to base where there's a fire and get warmed up. Another thing you can do for healing yourself is make sure you're focused on getting garlic. Garlic is the natural healing and cold debuff thing that we have in this game right here. So all the garlic, that stacks up, that gives you that cold debuff, cold protection buff, I guess is what it is. So yeah, your guys, if they're just eating garlic, then they have that extra healing and extra cold resistance for their stuff. And then your cookouts can just focus on making garlic for their food. For that, it's not the best food for eating and stuff like that, right? But yeah, it's still good for the it's pretty full. That's pretty good for a food bar, I guess. But yeah, do that, then you get that healing and the cold resistance buff for your guys, and especially if they don't have armor or stuff like that on themselves. It's just any little bit will help in this game. So yeah, those are all the basic tips that I have for you. They're simple and easy to do. Just make sure you're aware of them when you're going around there playing this game. You got fire pits in the middle of all your stuff. Like this is a bad location, for example. I started my base by the guard tower because the guard tower is the most important thing, to have that in the middle of your base, and the fire pit nearby for them to do all the work. So this fire pit here will warm up the guard, it'll warm up that one over there, and it warms up some of these other buildings right here. So yeah, this little fire pit warms up all that stuff there and maintains it. The other rest of the stuff I just put because I had room to put them there, right? So I could have put them in the better locations to keep more warm. But yeah, it's fire pits everywhere to keep people warm, and centralized locations and all that kind of fun stuff. And of course, the other things of checking your guys out there and making sure nobody's freezing to death, adjusting their time for winter schedules for the things, and sticking guys on healer huts for the winter time. So it's springtime now. Second winter survived. I can go over here and take these guys off their job right here and stick them back onto whatever other jobs they were doing. I'll do that when I have more time to actually pay attention to that. I think I got a hunter and a stone worker that I can start putting back on duty, because my hunter thing was full of meat and I didn't really need him anymore, and I didn't need a guy on stone anymore. Let my resources drain out there and let them go back to work after this. But yeah, anyways, adjusting the schedules is key factor, and a nice place like this. This was the best place right here for all my guys keeping warm in leisure time, and that should help you survive the winter without much of a problem at the end of the day. Well, it's still going to be a problem if you don't have the armor for yourself, but there you go. Hopefully some of these little tips will help you out on playing this game. So thanks for watching, and I will see you later.